We're in a car accident, time tends to move differently. You're disoriented, anxiety's going through the roof, and time just seems to move a little bit differently. And because of all this, sometimes people tend not to take the best actions to protect themselves from additional physical and financial harm after the car accident. And I don't want you to be one of those people. That's why I'm making this video. And here's what to do in this stressful situation, including how to deal with first responders, medical providers, the other driver, and even insurance adjusters. Hi, I'm attorney Mark Brown, and I am an injury lawyer. A large part of my practice is representing individuals that have been injured in auto collisions, such as car accidents. I mean, do you know the first thing that you should do if you're ever involved in a car accident? Well, I can tell you. First, stay calm and turn on your emergency flashers to warn other drivers of the hazard. If you're able to move your car, meaning that you're not injured to the point where you're incapacitated, or that your car is not damaged to the point where it's at least operable enough to get it out of the roadway, please try to move your car out of the roadway. The last thing you want is to be hit by another vehicle after you've already been involved in a car accident. With that being said, moving your vehicle, do not leave the scene. What I'm saying is you need to move to the side of the roadway, a safe, well-lit parking lot that's right there. Don't try to drive off to the next exit or leave the scene, because that could be bad. That could be bad. One thing a lot of people don't think about is that after a car accident, their car is usually turned off. If you have young children, pets, elderly individuals in the vehicle, make sure not to leave them in that vehicle with the windows rolled up in the summer heat. I know I'm between South Carolina and Georgia a lot, and it gets really hot here, and that could be an additional danger to increase the risk of harm to individuals in that car. And you may be a little loopy and disoriented after being involved in a car accident. That's normal. Just remember to try to stay calm, take deep breaths, and assess the situation. Then move on to step number 2. If you're in a car accident, do you need to call 911? Yes. Always yes. You need to report the accident. One thing that the 911 operator is going to ask is for the location. If you don't really know the location, you can try to ask someone that has stopped by to help. Maybe pull up your phone and look on maps to see where you're located. And you don't have to give them the exact location. Just try to give them the closest mile marker, or maybe a business that you saw just before the collision occurred. And the main thing with calling 911 and getting law enforcement to arrive on scene is so that they can take a look at the accident scene and determine who was at fault for the collision and write a proper report. That report is really going to help you if you end up filing an insurance claim. It's one thing to just exchange information with the other driver, but how are you sure that driver is giving you the correct information? And how do you know that driver is not going to change their story later on? There's been way too many times where I've had clients where the other person admitted fault, even though the officer came out there and is on the officer's body camera, admitted fault, the report says the person was at fault, and then that person goes to their insurance company and said, no, the other person was at fault. The other person had the red light and I had the green light. You want to get an officer out there and get that report. The person could change their story, but that report is really going to help you down the road. And I mean, have you ever gone to the DMV and you wait all that time in line just to get up to the counter and they tell you you don't have all your documentation, or you don't have 2 forms of identification, or your blood type. And now you got to go back home, get the stuff, and go back to the DMV and do it all over again. It's kind of the similar when you don't have a police report. Get all your documentation, because the insurance adjuster is going to ask for a police report. And if you didn't think the auto accident or the collision was important enough to contact law enforcement and get a report, they're not going to think it's important enough to properly compensate you. And the third tip I have for you is take pictures. This day and age, everybody takes pictures of everything. If you've been involved in a car accident, it is important that you take pictures of the scene of the accident if you are able to do that. I mean, if you're extremely hurt with a broken leg or something like that, don't try to hobble around taking pictures. It's not that serious. If you're able to take photographs, please do that. Pictures and video. There are 7 types of photos and videos that I would recommend you take from the accident scene. Screenshot this to refer back to. The insurance company is going to want to know all the details around the accident. They're going to want to know whether law enforcement came and did a report, were there any witnesses, the damage to the vehicle, all of this. So as long as you have the accident report, you have photographs, you have video, that's going to make your case that much stronger and puts you in the position to recover the maximum compensation for the injuries you sustained in the car accident. And I know I said take the pictures and the video, but please, 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 please do not post those photos or videos on social media. 2023, and a lot of times our gut reaction to tell Instagram, Facebook what's going on in our lives. But I would recommend that you not post about the accident, your injuries, or an insurance claim on social media until the case has resolved and is done. You might not realize it, but those posts could actually be used against you by the insurance company, and you do not want to harm your case. And remember, if you've been in a car accident, the adrenaline's pumping, you might be a little loopy, disoriented, so you might not actually feel the pain or discomfort from any injuries you sustain. It's still important you get checked out, so you need to seek medical treatment. I've always found that a hospital ER is the best place to receive medical treatment after being in a car accident or suffering any kind of injury. I know myself, a lot of times I'll go to the urgent cares, they get you in and out. A lot of times there's no x-rays done, and the documentation usually is not as well put together as the medical notes from the hospital ER. I previously had a client that was involved in a car accident, and he went to be treated at an urgent care facility. The medical records were only a couple pages. They did the x-rays, didn't find anything wrong, and they sent him home. He had to go back to the emergency room 2 days later, experiencing severe headaches that he originally reported in the urgent care, and nausea, dizziness. It turned out he had a concussion, went on to suffer from post-concussion syndrome. So that's a reason why I always recommend that my clients seek treatment at a hospital emergency room as soon as possible after a collision. And here's another question that I get all the time. How soon after a car accident should I contact the insurance company? My opinion, you should not. You should speak with an experienced lawyer before speaking with the insurance company. The insurance company, even your own insurance company, is not going to have your best interests at heart. The insurance company is not your friend. Don't get that mistaken. The insurance company is not in the business of paying money out. They're in the business of making money. If you do choose to speak to the insurance company before speaking with a lawyer, please, 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 I would not recommend you providing a recorded statement. If you're going to speak with them, that's one thing. But I would not consent, and I would not recommend any of my potential clients or clients consent to a recorded statement. You need to speak with an injury lawyer and potentially hire that lawyer and have them prepare you for that statement and have them present when you provide a recorded statement, if you choose to provide the recorded statement. And I know that you're going to want to get the ball rolling with your insurance claim, and it's going to be your gut instinct to speak with the insurance company. But again, I encourage you to speak with an experienced injury lawyer before doing that. And with that being said, the final step after being in a car accident is to contact and hire an experienced injury lawyer. You may be asking yourself, do I always need to hire a lawyer, or why would I need to hire a lawyer for a car accident? And there are several reasons that immediately come to mind. First and foremost, that lawyer is going to speak with the insurance company to make sure your claim is properly opened up and that the insurance adjuster has the immediate information to go ahead and get liability assessed. Also, that lawyer is going to look for every potential insurance policy that may be able to provide coverage to you. A lot of times people only think the person that hit them's insurance will cover the accident. That person could have their own insurance. They could be driving another person's vehicle that has insurance. You have your insurance, which could have underinsured motorist coverage to provide additional compensation to you. There's plenty of other insurances. Let me not even get started talking about if that person was delivering pizza for Pizza Hut or driving an Amazon 18-wheeler. Also, a good lawyer is going to make sure that you have access to all the medical providers and treatment that you may need. That's going to be a neurologist if you have a concussion, an orthopedic doctor if you have an injury to your spine, rotator cuff, anything like that. We always want to make sure our clients have access to medical treatment even if they do not have health insurance. Another thing the lawyer is going to do is begin collecting evidence on day one. That is so important. A lot of time that includes sending out a preservation letter to the defendant or to anybody else that might have evidence that you don't want them to get rid of. If an accident happens on one day, you have to go through a long process before you get your day in court or before the insurance company really determines the settlement value. So that could be months, if not years later. We want to make sure to preserve all evidence. By hiring an experienced personal injury lawyer, it's going to put you in the best position to get the maximum compensation that you deserve for your injury and make sure that all your pain and suffering is accounted for. If you've been injured in a car accident in South Carolina or Georgia and you need representation, I'm your guy. Go ahead and hit the link in the description and I'll be happy to talk with you.